All right, stand by. You guys are live.
All right. Hey, thank you. Welcome to Lobo Chat with JC Lopez. Today, I have a real good friend of mine, Ed Nunez. Learning more about him more and more, and it's gonna be interesting to find out who this man really is, because Ed Nunez was the man at one time, but now we got another Ed Nunez in town. The AD from the Lobos, Eddie Nunez, and I know they confuse these guys, but hey, Ed, welcome, man.
Yeah, I appreciate that, JC. It's kind of funny because Eddie, all due respect to Eddie Nunez, he goes by Eddie, and I go by Ed.
Yeah.
But it's funny because a lot of people, when he came to town, did ask that question. This friend of mine, he saw me at Frontier Restaurant a couple of years ago, when Eddie first came to town, and he says, "Hey, congratulations on the job." And I'm like, and then I said to my wife, he thinks I'm the AD, and I didn't even chase him down and say that I wasn't. I mean, he probably figured it out later. That's quite an honor and title. And I've met Eddie. We had him on the sports desk on ProView Networks about 2 years ago, and just a great guy.
Great man, yes.
Good man, and he's got a lot of work to do. He really does.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know that if he thought it was going to be this much because it all hit him.
Well, you know what? Being the director, his job is to manage. His job wasn't to put out fires. He was here. He came in as a fireman, dude. He didn't realize how bad the department was. I've talked to him a few times, so I think he's doing a wonderful job. I mean, what's your opinion?
You know what? I think he is, too. And I think the other thing is we talk about the student athletes, and I think the student part is doing very well. We don't mention the GPAs enough. We mention the wins and losses.
Right,
And
the
as far
bad
as
stuff happens,
right, and you know what, people again, and you saw a show that I did with Marvin Johnson on ProView Networks,
awesome show, dude.
And I had George Scott on the week before. I'm having Jeffrey Condolati on this morning. These are all Lobo fans, and we're going to dissect and try to solve things. But the speculation in town here, the people, as you mentioned too, you said this on a couple of your podcasts. They're some of the worst fans we have here, right? As far as saying we should do this and we should do that. And I get it. It's passion. I'm passionate too. Been a Lobo fan since 1970, a graduate of UNM in 1986. What do we have here? Of course I follow the Lobos. Yeah. Of course. Yeah. That's a big passion, and it always will be.
That's our major league teams. That's who we are. And me being a booster, being involved with the Lobos, I don't know, because like I said, I've been one since a kid. My dad took me to the games at Johnson Gym back when it was Mal Daniels and it was Hydrobar. I remember, so as I get older now, and then I see the different fans, I see little kids now watching these players, and what I'm getting out of this right now, and it's kind of sad for me, is that that's not good role models that they're showing these kids. When they come off the bench and throw their jerseys off, throw them I'm just like, when they come out of the game, you notice that?
I did.
What is that telling to our kids when they're our age? Oh, I remember this, I remember that. We have good memories of Lobo players. You understand?
Right.
And I think what's happening nowadays is it's a whole different ball game, man. I don't even know how to explain what's going on.
Well, I watched Sunday, the Boise State, and I'm flipping back between the Lakers and Celtics as I'm a huge Laker fan, but I'm flipping back and forth, and it's really hard for me to watch. It really is, because it seems to have gotten worse. Now, some of the disciplinary problems that he's had, right? He's running Vontae Hendricks in practice. He doesn't play. Zane Martin doesn't start. Corey Manigoltz. These problems persist, though. In other words, back in the day, again, we're older guys. I played for Coach Duffy at St. Pius, and then I went to Highland. I played with some old school disciplinarians. Wally Sanchez, the former coach at Pius. These guys were disciplinarians. Yeah. So if you did one thing wrong, you didn't do it again. And I just don't understand why these problems keep persisting. I don't get it, because it's a privilege to wear that uniform.
It is.
And Vontae Hendricks, the transfer from Utah is a good player, right? But he throws jerseys.
He got caught up in now that
I just don't get
the mentality where, I guess, since he got away with it, I'm going to get away with it. And I've seen like McGee also, where he's done that, where I've seen him come up to the ramp when he got pulled out of a game. and I'm trying to figure out, is it the environment? Is it the kids? Is it the players? Is it the coaches? I don't know. The coaches are all great men. They're good people. I mean, I got to know them all. They're awesome guys. And my opinion, because I'm an old guy, I'm 65 years old, and I see all these youngsters coaching and playing this game, is I don't think I see them where they don't look at the coaches with respect as an adult. They're more like my buddies. They're way along. They're almost the same age. Coach Weir's what, 41?
He's a young guy.
And Brandon and they're all young guys. And these kids that are coming up, they're already adults. Some of these transfer, they're almost all over 21. I think it's only freshmen are the ones that are under 21, and they're men. How can a man tell a man? You know, it's like living in a castle. There's only one man in a castle, one king. And I see all these kids coming in thinking that they can control the coaches, and that's not right. You know?
You go back to this though. Steve Alford came down the pit last Tuesday when Nevada beat the Lobos. Think about the discipline the coach. Again, I'm not. Coach Alford's a great coach, right? 30-5 seasons. I'm not a big fan of Steve Alford, the person, or Craig Neal. I'm not a big fan of the people. But as far as the coaching that Steve Alford had, and when he was here with Craig Neal, how good were they together? Now, when Steve Alford was coaching here, you didn't have those disciplinary problems. You didn't, because he had it one way, and if it wasn't that, remember who did he play under? He played under Bobby Knight.
Yeah.
Coach Knight, I read Season on the Brink, and they said that one time Alford gave him a look, and he says, "You ever give me a look like that again, you'll never be here." He grew up under that. His dad, Sam Alford, was a coach.
Right.
So he didn't put up with any of that.
Yeah.
Now, it's a different coach. It's a different time. If you remember the first year that Coach Weir was here, his first year was very successful. On the cusp of a Mountain West tournament championship, right? Antono Jackson, Furtstinger, Logwood. You had guys that were team guys, right? If you look at Joe Furtstinger, not the most talented guy, but he gave you everything he had, right? Drew the charges, the 50-50 loose balls. He went to the weight room and bulked up. That was a team guy. Yeah. What are we seeing here, JC, to me? There's a lot of individuals, and it bugs the heck. I had to turn it off. On Sunday, it made me so mad because you got guys dribbling between the legs and dribbling off their feet. Ball security, right?
Right.
Each possession is
I would change the channel, too. I was telling my wife, every time I'd go back to watch the Lobos, they do a turnover or they do something like so stupid. I'm like, really, dude? And then I see Coach Weir on the sideline. He don't know what to do because, he's not playing the game. And these kids are just trying to do too much on their own. If you notice, there's a 30-second shot clock, right? They might run a play for the first 12 seconds. After that, they'll just stay and wait, go for a 1-and-1. And whoever has the ball in the last 4 or 5 seconds, they're going to force it. We already know, as a fan and the opposing coaches, let them do whatever they want to do, and they'll find a way to make a turnover.
One of the biggest losses was J.J. Caldwell. He's not coming back. He was a point guard. He distributed. He stole the ball. Now you've got Jaquan Lyle at the point guard. He's not probably more of a two guard. Zane Martin is not a point guard. He's a slasher. We want him to slash. He can shoot once in a while, but he's not the kind of guy that's going to give you volume 3-point shots. He's not. Right. So, and then inside, Jeff Grammer had a great article in the Journal about the inside presence, the absence of Carlton Bragg. That's really hurt the Lobos. And you got the thing that drove me
crazy. But then you adjust.
Right.
Granted, okay, so what happens? Now you adjust because you know what? They are very good players. Each one of those players, I look at it, these guys are so good, but for some reason, they're not playing like a unit. But again, I'm optimistic. I'm saying Coach Weir's doing this intentional. Waits for the Mountain West tournament. It only takes 4 games. It's going to be 3, but it's 4 games. We have a good opportunity, and we're going to face every team, one game at a time. And I'll be out there, and I'm going to root for my team and support my team. I believe that we still can win it because we have good players. They just got to play together. You notice that on fast breaks, they don't have to dish to each other. They just take it to the hole. And I'm like wondering what is in their mindset. These players, it's not about the stats, is it? I don't know.
Yeah, you know what? You mentioned the individuality, but I got to ask you this. I know you're an optimistic Lobo fan. I am too. Where's the team trending? They're trending downward. So I'm probably not as optimistic as you are. I'm still hopeful, but we have to be realistic in where they're at. Global Women, same thing. I covered them last night. So
what happened there?
We covered that for the Mountain West Network, and I got to tell you this. 20-some turnovers, about 14 of those they're just careless turnovers, ill-advised passes. Asia Robertson had a big game, 30 points. But New Mexico dug themselves a big hole and couldn't get out of it. So I think you're seeing the problems, some of the same problems with both teams. Ball security is huge. And I just don't see that urge, right? The urge to stop my man, to defend. Again, the defense is bad inside because of the loss of Carlton Bragg. So I just don't see that urge to defend.
What I'm seeing is that they're not playing 40 minutes. They'll play a great half. They'll play a great first half, or they'll play a great second half. But they can't play 2 good halves. Look at the San Diego State game. We played well. We're only down 2. They were we were there. We hit our shots, and we moved the ball. Second half, all of a sudden, we can make a basket. But instead of them trying to find a way to keep the game close, they just threw the ball away. It's like they kept forcing the ball. They weren't even good shots.
No.
And why is that? I mean, again, is it the players? Is it the coaching? Is there something going on inside the locker room that we just don't know what it is? And of course, we don't know because we're fans. We're out here. So I'm just like I said, I'll be in Vegas, and I believe we're going to win that damn tournament. I really do. Because we got the players. If you put it all together, and again, you could go 0-26 for the season and go in the Mountain West and win it, and you're there. That's. And again, to me, I wish they didn't have a tournament, because that way all year long you can play to win all year long. And for some reason, I don't know, Ed, I am so I'm a homer. That's what it is. And I'm just trying to and I love going to Vegas. Because I like to see the other teams. And it's too bad this year we're a week before all the other teams. When I was there, I'd go watch the Aggies play, but now I guess they're not going to be there. They're the following week. So.
And they're on a 16-game winning streak. They're playing pretty well in their conference. But to your point about San Diego State in the second half, give credit to the Aztecs defense. They're not ranked number 4 in the nation for nothing. That's a good defense. They lost to UNLV, and I think maybe that's good for them to get that loss out of the way, get that monkey off your back.
Did you see that game?
I didn't.
I did. They were missing easy shots. San Diego State was missing layups. They were missing shots that would go in. They were not going in.
Yeah.
And I'm like, they're going to lose this game, sure enough. But they came back and almost, but they found so far behind that, they were due, But I still think that they're going to get upset in the tournament and want to, somebody's going to go and, and win this other tournament. And I think that could be the Lobos.
I'll tell you what, they're a tough team. I'll say this too. You mentioned one of the things you mentioned about possessions late in the clock, and that's where things become discombobulated. The clock's running down, and then either Zane Martin, you can figure that out. He's going to try to drive to the basket. Not good possessions, not good team possessions, not good execution.
What does Lyle do? I know your answer. What does Lyle do?
He's going to jack up a step back three. Step back
every
three.
Time you're
one of the things that Jeff Grammer said, though, and he has a good point, he said at this point in the season, he's a little bit heavier and his legs are, he thought he's a little tired. He's not the same fresh Jaquan Lyle that we had earlier in the season. And then he's had to shoulder most of the point guard duties, and he's not a point guard. He's more of a 2, right? So some of these guys, let's face it, are again, you mentioned adjustments, things like that. They've had to adjust on the fly. They didn't anticipate not having Carlton Bragg. They didn't anticipate not having J.J. Caldwell. They didn't anticipate that.
Nope.
And those are big holes to fill.
Big holes.
They really are.
Yeah. I don't want to go there. What happened with them. It kind of upsets me as a Lobo fan. And again, I don't know what's going on, but they get arrested, they charge them with whatever, and then they drop the charges. That's kind of like weird, It's like either they did something or why drop the charges, And it's kind of like, just makes you start thinking of a conspiracy out there. I don't know, dude. So, Anyway, talking more about the game. The game last week when they lost to Boise State. Grammer was optimistic about that game. He read a positive article about, it's the first time that he's seen them, even though they lost, but he sees good things, So, you know what, maybe, Coach Weir's a doctor, right?
Dr. Weir.
He's a smart,
4 degrees.
Smart man,
yes.
So I think deep down he has a little plan in there, man. I really do, knowing that he's adjusting with losing those players. And you know what, I think these players might step it up. I'm hoping that Zane Martin and Lyle and Malcolm, they got a good team. Dude. And I don't know, just, I'm pretty optimistic. I really going out there thinking that we're going to win that damn tournament.
You know what, JC, I love it because you've been a Lobo fan. It's long. You've been a Lobo fan longer than me. I've been a Lobo fan since '70. Love them to death. But I got to say again, we see the body language. We saw it last night, I think, with the Lobo women. I'm going back to the Lobo women because they were outscored by Boise State 24-10 in the fourth quarter, and it seemed like it carried over into last night's game. It seemed like they had lost their confidence. You could just tell by body language. I've coached, I've played, I've officiated. I've seen 3 different levels of the game.
Right. You talking about Bradbury?
Bradbury last night. Bradbury last night. So in talking about the Lobo men, it seems the same thing. Where are they trending? Are they trending upward or trending down? And right now, I've seen them trending down. That game against Boise Sunday was I've been a Lobo fan for almost 50 years.
Yeah.
And I told one of my best friends, I said, gosh, you know what? I could barely watch that. I could barely watch it. Again, you couldn't play Vontae Hendricks because of disciplinary action. Zane Martin didn't start the first half because of disciplinary action. When does this stuff stop? That's the other thing.
But you know what? It's about time he does that.
No, it's true.
It's about time to have discipline there. So hopefully it was just in time for the Mountain West, because you're right. All year long, those kids are getting away with everything. I go, Coach, when are you going to, be disciplined, these kids? They have to know. You got to take the game away from them. so they can want it even more. And finally, you're reading they're finally getting disciplined, and hopefully they can, have a little team meeting by themselves without the coaches, and these guys can tell each other, hey, let's do something, if not for the fans, for us, as the players, so hopefully, I know what you're saying, but you know what, we got 2 more games left. We got the Air Force game tomorrow and then Utah State. Let's build on these 2 games, and then we have a hard time winning at Air Force.
No, we do.
So we got to go out there and really show that we can. They come back and beat Utah State. They're already in. They already project them being in the NCAA tournament as a not-large bid if they don't win the tournament. So these are the first 2 games that we could start the streak. And let's hope next week or a week after the tournament we'll come and talk again, and we'll just see. If I was full of S or not.
You know what? The other thing I want to ask you, though, is, again, going back to that first-year team that Coach Boyer had with Antono Jackson, Ferd Stinger, the leaders of the team. Where's the leader of this Lobo team right now? And I don't see it. I don't see one guy saying, hey, we need to stop we need to stop running up the ramp. We need to stop throwing jerseys. We need to get together as a team and stop that. And I don't see one guy doing that. I don't see the leadership. That's a major void right there, is the lack of leadership on this team right now. And I just don't see it.
Yeah, and you're totally right. So you think maybe because of this discipline might start it, maybe like Hendricks say, okay, you know what, or they'll be gone next year, dude.
That's what I think.
They'll be gone.
That's what I think.
They'll be gone.
Right.
Yeah, because they can't deal with, what I hate seeing is when you have substitutions, and instead of patting each other, giving a high five, they're getting mad. Like, they don't even care about their teammate coming in and replace them. When I was substituted, dude, I tell the guy taking my place, man, make sure you do that, let's get, make sure, this is what, whatever. And, yeah, you know what? It's another one of them years. Again, it was a promising year, and then stuff happens.
14-3, they started out. Good win against Wisconsin, right? Very good win against Wisconsin.
2, I believe. Yeah.
But I talked to Mark Ticky Smith. We had talked earlier in September, and he said, October, November. And he says, "Look, I just don't see a team. I see a lot of individuals." And so I go back to that. And Mark's been a beat writer for the Journal for years and Champion Sports editor. And he was right about that as far as the chemistry. The chemistry hasn't been really good. Even when things were good, there was still that question like, okay, why is that guy not running back on defense? Why is he doing, there's a lot of questions as a coach, as somebody that's observed basketball in several different areas. I'm like, wait a minute. Even when times were good, there was a lot of questions even then.
Right. Because I was hearing, I think it was Jeff Grammer was being interviewed by one of the stations here in town, and he was talking about how he would see players that they were like going through the motions, like they were not they didn't give up, but for some reason it wasn't they weren't like you said, they weren't gelling for some reason, and the discipline, being like, what's his name, was running the stairs, and being suspended or not playing the first half, and maybe this is what these kids need. I mean, I don't know, man. Maybe this is what we that we need, that he needed to do.
Yeah, what I'm saying is it's kind of, in some cases, too little, too late. Where was that earlier? That's just an observation. Maybe it works. And you mentioned some of the guys on the staff. Craig Snow, awesome guy, right?
Awesome.
Brandon Mason, B. Mace, awesome. So
All of them.
right? They're
All of them.
so someone somewhere as a player. Now I've coached. There has to be that want, that fight, that dog in that player to say, who's going to stop this? We've got all this talent.
Yeah.
But it was mentioned, too, and J.J. Buck said this on 610 yesterday, that really the Lobos have talent, but are they as talented as some other teams in the Mountain West? There's some good teams in the Mountain West that are more cohesive as a team. These guys, we have a lot of individuals that want to be individual, but not for the team.
Right.
So that has to change. And I'll tell you something, this late in the season, sometimes that's hard to overcome. No, I don't. I'm never going to say that. I'm you. Every Lobo game is a new game. I'm optimistic. I don't care if they're 0-20. I don't care. We're going to win the next one. Right. Same thing as a Dallas Cowboy fan. You're a Dallas Cowboy fan like me, right? They haven't won one in 24. I hope they win one before I leave this earth.
I got the curse.
I saw 5. So did you? I saw 5 championships. I'd like to see at least one more before God calls me home. So,
not with a new coach. I never liked Garrett, dude. I never liked Garrett as our coach. Even way back when he was the assistant to what's his face, Phillips, was it?
Right to Phillips,
And
the offensive coordinator under Wade
they
Phillips.
made him the offensive coordinator and co-coach in a sense that if the next coach will be Garrett, so if you fail, he becomes, but he's your offensive coordinator. He was fading for you, man. He was calling, all this stupid offensive plays that we could call from the site, from the TV, and sure enough, he gets fired, and they put him in there, and he's been there for 10, 20 years.
Well, you think about that too, though, JC, and this is true. Jerry Jones likes puppets. He likes people he can control. He doesn't want a strong personality. I think McCarthy's the best that the Cowboys could have hoped for as fans, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's bring back Jimmy.
Right.
Jimmy Johnson's 77 years old. He's not coming back, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
No.
he's not going to bring that guy that might overshadow him.
Yeah.
What owner gets up in front of the press and says who's playing on Wednesdays?
He's the only one.
Yeah.
He's the one.
So
Yeah.
until that changes, I don't know. I'm optimistic though because I like Mike McCarthy. I
Right.
think he'll do some good
And we'll
things.
see what happens.
But
Yeah.
Jerry Jones controls that team. He's still the face of that franchise
Yeah.
and will be until
Well,
the foreseeable
He's
future.
a billionaire till he becomes president.
Right.
all these billionaires want to become president.
Yeah, don't laugh. He might run. Don't laugh. He just might. Why not?
Going back, we go off on a tangent here. Okay?
Yeah.
And going back to the Lobo men, when I think Jeff Grammer also said that he saw, even the coaches admit this, that when they were doing well early, but they kind of saw the kids getting away from, because we were very successful. They were letting them play, letting them run, letting them do their thing, and they should have reeled it in at that time. When they saw things happening, they should have reeled it in. Granted, like they're men, right? They should have had curfews.
Right.
You're in the season. I mean, yeah, you're a man, but you're also a student, and you're a basketball player for University of New Mexico. They should have had curfews, man. And party all you want after the season. They, like they said, hindsight's 20/20. But I hope he didn't. I just hope Coach Ware didn't lose the players already because he's a good man.
Very much a good man.
And these players, I hope they respect Coach. I mean, he gave them a second chance. These kids were, all coming from a different program that they got kicked off at, or just didn't want to play, and he brought them in. And I hope they reward him. These players need to reward him. Get together. Get together as a team and show everyone that you guys are good people and good players, and you're here for a reason. And get out there and do the right thing. Do the right thing. That's one thing that I get upset about. As a fan, and I talk to a lot of fans out there, and we come to the consensus. These players are good players, but they're not team players. Like they say, right? There's no I in team.
Individuals and
there is individuals. Right? There's 9 individuals. Yeah.
Think about this,
Yeah.
and again, we're not going to get into why or whatever, but Carlton Bragg was kicked out of 2 schools. And so if you're given a third chance, I'm going to embrace that man that gave me a third chance and say, you know what? You won't be sorry, right? I'm going to make sure you gave me my third chance when nobody else would give me a chance. How'd that turn out?
Oh, my God.
So, and then the other guy, look, Jaquan Lyle is here. He rents a B&B for a party while they're on the road. Those kind of decisions baffle me. I don't get it. Because then you got everybody else comes to the party that's not invited because they see these flyers.
Yeah.
Somebody gets shot. I just don't get those kind of decisions. They don't make no sense.
Here again, to defend Lyle, to be the other side, is that, you know what? You've thrown parties.
Yes.
I've thrown parties. When nothing goes bad, it's good.
No, it's true.
But then all of a sudden, somebody got mad or whatever, come back and they want to shoot. In this day and age, people want to shoot their guns. To me, I don't blame Lyle for that. I mean, you want to have a party? It could have been a birthday. I don't know what the party was for. I don't know none of that. But I'm sure there's a lot of parties this past weekend that nobody pulled out a gun. It happens. It just so happens that it amplifies it because he's a ball player. But I don't think everybody has a right to throw a party.
No,
I don't see where that was an issue. It's the fact that happened, and it's not his fault. He didn't have the gun. But yet he got penalized for that.
Yeah, here's the thing, though, JC, and you're not wrong, okay? Again, I don't want to think we're coming down on Jaquan Lyle as a fine ball player. I hope that during the tournament he comes through for us. They need him. They
Jackson.
definitely need him.
We got a good team,
good player.
dude.
Vance Jackson's a
We
good
got
player.
a team.
The only thing is, though, these days in social media, parties aren't like the ones we used to have because everybody splashes it out, Facebook, Instagram, and everybody, and then there's more of a chance for bad things. That's all I'm saying. Again,
Right.
You're right. Everyone's entitled to have their parties, and they do, and they will, but you just got to think about certain things you're doing.
When you're done.
Okay. Sorry, bro. Yeah. Tim just telling me right now that his boy just rear-ended someone. I hope he's okay, bro. So, yeah. Okay, good. Going back to, going back to the tournament. Are you beat out there?
No,
You
I
know about that?
got to cover
Yeah.
high school ball here still.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we're gonna be here doing that.
Let me change the subject a little bit, and I wanna, because I want to talk about you, Ed Nunez, okay? Because I've known you for a few years, but I really don't know who you really are,
Right.
okay? I mean, I don't, of you, and when I saw your show with Marvin Johnson, I was surprised how much knowledge you had of Lobo history. I'm like, wow. So, tell me a little bit about you, Ed. I mean, what high school did you go to? Grade school? Where did you grow up at? I mean,
We grew up in I grew up in the Southeast Heights and went to Holy Ghost, the old St. Pius for 1 year. Then I went to Highland. My older brother played at St. Pius with Jim Mitchum, who went to DePaul. My brother was my hero.
what's your brother's name?
Danny Nunez went to Pius, and as a basketball, you'd always look and emulate someone. My older brother, and to this day, I still
He's
look
your
up
man.
to.
Good for
You know
you.
what? Yeah, there's certain people in your life.
Yeah,
My
good
father
for you.
was there for me, but my older brother was somebody
Wow.
I still look up to.
Good. Too.
So when I was playing, I always wanted to be as good as him. Right? He had number 40. I wore number 40. So
How many years older?
He's 5 years older.
He's 5 years older.
So when he was playing at St. Pius, he would take me over there to play against the older guys when I was in 6th grade. Now, I got my butt kicked, but I got better. I learned.
And were you tall at that time growing up?
I was
always?
growing up. I was taller than most kids my
You're
age.
what, 6'3"?
6'1".
6'1",
He's
yeah.
6'4".
Is he? Okay.
He's 6'4".
Okay.
So I got to do that with him, and I played at St. Pius 1 year, and we were undefeated as freshmen. I missed out on the '80 championship team. And Bill Duffy always tells me that, you knucklehead, you would have started. But I went to Highland, had a good career, no regrets.
Right.
I love Highland. Highland's still dear to my heart. It really is.
Yeah.
And so I graduated from Highland, and I went to Eastern for 2 years, as I told you earlier, for radio TV. And then I came to UNM and graduated with a degree in recreation in '86. I just retired from the city in December of 2019. Just retired after 30 years of service. And so it's funny the way I started my radio career was with Henry T, because I was officiating high school
The
basketball.
legendary Henry T.
Legendary Henry
Yeah,
T.
yeah.
I was officiating
I love
high school.
Henry.
Oh, yeah, he's a great guy, and he's taught me a lot. I was officiating high school basketball, and I got a real nasty staph infection when I was 50. I have no idea where it came from. And
You're
there's no way
50?
when I was 50. When I was 50
50?
years old. Yeah, I was 50 in
Really?
2011. And I don't know where it came from. And, I couldn't go back to officiating that year. I was really sick. So I started broadcasting with Henry, and then ProView Networks picked me up in 2012, and I've been broadcasting with ProView Networks since then. I'll tell you, I never look back at officiating, although people that commentate about officials, you don't know. You think you know, but you don't know. You don't. Because I spent 22 years out there, on the high school level.
So how did you get involved with umpiring, refereeing?
It was okay. It was funny because I was coaching at Highland.
Okay.
I was coaching under Ray Rodriguez, who's the
Okay.
head coach
Yeah,
at Cibola now.
Cibola, yeah.
And so I
Another good
couldn't.
coach,
No,
another good
not
coach,
only a
yeah.
good
Yeah.
coach, but
Good
one of the
person,
best people you'd ever meet in your life.
Good man.
Good guy.
Yeah.
So I couldn't coach anymore because of time commitments and work. So I figured, hey, I might as well start officiating. It's funny because a lot of things that are said about officials, when I was coaching, I would say the same things, right? Like, oh my gosh, you guys are terrible, this and that. Until you put the shirt and the whistle on. Go do that and see how it is from that standpoint. Because I had to not think as a coach anymore or as a player. It's a totally different role. You're an official. Your job is to manage the game, right?
Right.
And so I did it 22 years, did 4 state tournaments. I did the 2001 Hobbs Clovis State Championship in the pit. I can always say that.
Did you? Wow.
That's when Hank Baskett played for Clovis.
Right.
I never ran as fast before, never ran as fast after. Pure adrenaline.
Yeah.
14,000 people.
I remember you calling Jeremy played for my son Jeremy played
Yes.
for Sandia. And I
Good
remember
player.
that you
Good,
were, I remember
nice
that
young
you were,
man.
Yeah, calling. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
so
remember that, yeah.
I did that for 22 years. But then when I stepped into broadcasting, I don't think I ever missed officiating, although I missed the camaraderie I had with my fellow officials. That's why when I commentate on games, I don't fall down on the officials because I know what it's like
Yeah.
to be out there. And unless
Were you a referee that had big ears?
No, you know
There's
what?
referees that listen
No,
to the crowd,
yeah.
man. I'm like, focus on the game. Everybody's gonna say something.
No, I'll tell you one thing. Just so you know, 22 years, I never threw out a player or coach. 22
Really?
years.
Yeah.
A couple of them probably deserved it too.
Yeah.
But 22 years, that wasn't. If you got a T for me, you deserved it.
Yeah.
Most of the time, I could talk a player out, say, "Hey, I need you in the game." I talked him to the side. I need you in the game. You can ask me anything. Just don't come yelling. I'd always tell the coaches, I don't mind questions. It's statements I got a problem with. And so,
Right.
one of the best compliments I got, was from Rio Grande head coach Pete Pino at the time. Pete Pino, great man. He says to me, Coach, when we see you coming, we know we're going to get a fair game. It's the best compliment you can get.
Yeah.
It's the best compliment you can get. So, I miss officiating, but I'll tell you one thing. When I went to broadcasting, think about how seamless that was for me. Again, I'm not going to officiate anymore. I'm going to go into broadcasting. So I'm still at it, still having a lot of fun. And it's funny, when I started with Henry was still at KDDF then, and we did a lot of games. Oh, man.
Yeah.
We did a lot of games together.
You did.
And it's funny because what I learned from him was when we were first broadcasting together, we had to learn each other, feel each other out. Don't step on him. He let me know. Boom. If I came in when I wasn't supposed to, bam, karate chop to my leg. So that meant, hey, you know what? Let me talk, and then
on the job training,
I'll bring you in.
Yeah.
And I learned a lot from him.
Wow. Yeah.
No, I really did. And one of the things I heard you brought when you did your podcast with him a couple weeks ago, and his thing for three was boom, boom. And I remembered that. I remembered that because I haven't heard him say that in a while. But three was boom. Yeah. And it brought back memories because I heard a lot of those.
The passion that he had on the
okay, so what he did to me one time, you're going to laugh about this. We were in Espanola doing Hope in Espanola about 7 years ago, maybe longer, maybe 8 years ago. And Henry had to run 300 feet of cable to even get that broadcast up. I remember that. He had to go underneath bleachers, the concession stands. You know how Henry describes getting ready for the broadcast. And so we were doing Hope in Espanola when that was a packed house up at Espanola, packed house.
Yeah, the mini pit.
Oh, man.
So.
And so I remember making a comment, and he tells me, hey, don't come across like you're selling popcorn. Bring the enthusiasm. Bring energy. That was his thing. Bring energy. And so I think one of the things he said a couple weeks ago, he always had energy and passion. I know that. And he says that maybe some broadcasters don't have that. I'll take a little issue with that because he didn't corner the market on it. He's great at it. There's no doubt about it. But there's some other people that are pretty good too.
Yeah.
Right. There's a lot
of good broadcasters in Albuquerque, dude. And
yes.
You're pretty good yourself for not being that all your life.
No, I appreciate that.
Because I've noticed. I remember at first when you started doing a few, and I'm like, oh, it's pretty cool that he wants to do this too, But then you started doing some pretty big games, and I'm like, damn, I go, this guy he's good. They recognize the talent. When you were not just a wannabe. You know what I'm saying? You did good. You did good.
Here's the thing, though. I got to tell you one thing. I think this field is very competitive that we're in. Right. Mm-hmm. I just was named the voice of Western New Mexico in September. And one of the things that I said to myself, I listened to some voices in the Lone Star Conference. I listened to some other broadcasts in that conference, and I said to myself, you know what? You better step your game up, man, because there's some good broadcasters in this conference. Yeah. And I'm not saying I'm the best, but I'm not going to be, we're competitors.
Take it serious.
We're athletes, right?
Yeah, right?
So it's that alpha male, okay, I can't compete on the athletic field anymore, the courts. Yeah. There's always competitions elsewhere.
Right, yeah.
So one thing that Scott Galletti taught me, and I'll tell you one thing about Scott, right? We hosted the sports
desk.
He's
another great
Yes, he's very good.
Man. Yeah, dude.
I've learned even by listening to him. I've learned a lot.
Yeah.
One of the things he said to me is like, at the college level, you better get that pronunciation guide in that roster because if you mess somebody's name up at that level, they'll come after you. And he's not wrong.
Right.
So before I go down to Western, I make sure that I contact the other team's SID for their pronunciation guide and their roster.
You do your homework.
Yeah, that's one thing about Scott.
Yeah.
That guy will prepare for a week for 2 games. He's a professional in every which way. Yeah. He really is. So there's people you can learn from. Not just one. When I was young, it was Kurt Gowdy, right? Kurt Gowdy was Dick Enberg, Jim Simpson, Brent Musburger. You listen to these guys and you're like, wow, those guys are so smooth, right?
And you really focused on them, huh?
I did.
It's weird that you say that because to me they're just announcers. I never thought, because I didn't want to be a sportscaster or voice announcer. But you're right. I mean, when you really think of those guys were good.
Oh, you know what? Yeah. Back in the day when just listening to them, and here's the other thing. I think even now, I look, and I already told you this. I'm 57 years old. I'm not going to no ESPN. I'm not trying to. Right. I'm happy with my life here in Albuquerque. I'm blessed, very blessed. Yeah. That doesn't mean that every broadcast I'm still not trying to get better. Every single one, because someone is listening. When we're doing Western New Mexico, a lot of those kids' parents can't be there, right? So I make sure that I mention from Honolulu, Hawaii, product of Caveman High School. Someone's listening. I've had some of the kids that I've met at Western, they tell me, hey, my parents are listening when you do the stream. That's important. Henry's always said that to me. Someone's always listening,
It's like another life you have right now. For what you retired from the city, but now you're doing broadcasting, and that's kind of like full-time gig now for you, right? I mean, that's your passion right now, right? That's your job. I mean, that's what you're doing nowadays. You're young, so that's your thing. Like what they say, what's his name from Kentucky Fried Chicken, Colonel Sanders? He started a new career at 65. I mean, and look at him. You
Oh,
know, look where
man.
he went, and then it seems like another life for you.
The other thing is I want to mention this too is, my son is my color commentator. My son
really?
My son, when he can, because he's
Yeah.
an assistant district attorney in town here.
Is
So I'm
he?
real proud of my boy.
darn.
Real proud of
Didn't
him.
know that.
So,
What's his name?
Nick
Nicholas
Nunez. Nick
Darn.
Nunez.
Yeah.
So he's my color commentator. He started this when he was 19. And I remember when we did our first game together, he coached at Pius for 3 years under Damian Segura. Damian Segura is one of the best coaches there is in that class and in the state, really.
Right.
And when he first did a game with me, I couldn't believe how much he could break down the game from a fundamental standpoint. And so together, think about how great it is to do a game with your kid. It doesn't get any better than that.
Spending time.
That's quality time that you can never make up.
Memories,
So-
man. You're building memories.
But we always refer to each other as coach. I never say this is my son.
Right.
I just say Coach Nunez, Coach Nunez.
Right.
Everybody that knows can put it together.
Right.
But he's an amazing commentator. And
Interesting.
I told my son the other night, hey, son, man, these kind of times, just don't forget them because they don't grow on trees. They don't last long enough. They really don't.
Interesting. Hold on a second. Put this. Okay. And what's his goal? Your son's goal? He's a DA now. I mean, does he want to be a DA?
He's 27 years old. He was with the city attorney's office for a year, and then he went to the attorney's office, district attorney's office, about last September. So he's only been there a couple months, and he's already got a couple cases. He won a couple cases. Look, he's a young attorney, and I tell him this all the time. I said, son, there's going to be that one case that's going to kick your behind because it happens to everybody.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that because I want it to happen.
Does he like going in front of judges? So he
loves
that?
it.
Yeah.
He loves it.
You know my son's an attorney also.
No, I didn't know that.
JD, my oldest.
Yeah.
He's the one that's going to be opening Jungle Jam. And I got a new indoor playground. I'm going to put a plug right now.
Yeah.
It's an indoor playground up on Coors and Paseo. It's called Jungle Jam, and it'll be opening probably last week of March or 1st of April, grand opening, but I'll let you even know. Anyway, he didn't like being in front of judges. He's an attorney, but he was more behind the scenes, contract, entertainment. He hated going in front of judges when he was attorney. He just it's not something that he wanted to do. And even though you have a law degree, so I give him a lot of credit.
No, it's funny because my son, I tell him all the time. I said, look, you being on ProView Networks helped prepare you, and we laugh about it because maybe just a little bit.
Right.
But he loves being in front of judges. He loves to present. But again, he's got to do his homework, the exhibits, the evidence. He's got to do a lot of work.
Yeah.
And I have no idea. He asked me to read a brief one time, and I'm a well-read guy. I think I couldn't make heads or tails of anything of that at all.
Yeah.
Because it's lawyer speak,
Right.
and I don't know lawyer speak.
So you have an insight of what's going on in the city then with the crime. I mean, how they try to prosecute. And yesterday, here again, we're going on another tangent, but, just speaking of that, you got these couple of criminals, or they got arrested for doing those two kids that ran through the truck, through the buildings, that damaged the building and, shut down these people's business, and the judge lets them out of jail. Oh, my God. I go, really? I mean, where's the, here again, where's the discipline? Where's
Right.
the, I mean, what the consequences? I mean, come on.
I wish I had more insight into that. My son mentions pleas and deals, and he's got his hands full with that. I wouldn't pretend to know anything about what he does there.
Yeah, so
He'd probably kick me in my behind and say, Dad, stay in your lane.
Yeah.
he
Leave that to us.
definitely would.
Yeah,
Let me do my job.
Yeah.
You do your job. And
I-
he's a fine young man.
I feel bad.
I'm real proud of him. He's a great young man.
Good. I don't know your son. I don't know if I saw him or not. Yeah. So, going back to you a little bit. So you're 55 years old. 57. You grew up in the Southeast Heights.
Southeast Heights.
Southeast Heights. How far? Whereabouts? Where's your parents?
Right there by Gibson and Washington, right there by the base.
Oh, okay.
But my father grew up in San Jose. And my mother grew up in Martineztown.
Are you Nunez, like the Johnny and Pete Nunez?
They're my cousins.
Are they? Oh, they're good.
Yeah, they're my cousins.
I know
Good
Johnny
people.
passed away. Oh, Pete's a good man.
They did my roof.
They're boxers, man.
Yeah.
They're the boxer guys back in the day when we were growing up.
Yeah, no,
They're
good guys. Those are my cousins. Yeah, I haven't seen them in a long time, but those
Pete, I
guys
see
are my
once in a
cousins.
while. I just see him in church, when and Pete and I can't remember his wife's name, but he's a good man. Yeah, and Johnny passed away years ago,
Right.
Yeah, and his daughters, Nikki, and there's another daughter of his. She played football football back in the day.
Wow.
So I got to know them.
That's a way time before that was even thought of.
Yeah, that
right?
was in 1990, around there. Yeah, so.
No, the good thing too is that I'm still in the Highland District. So
Are you?
I'm part of the Highland Alumni Association. We're trying to do things, do some things there. The
good,
Highland's not what it used to be.
Highland won yesterday, I saw.
Well, Coach Justin Woody, he brings me in to talk to the team. He texted me last night when they won. So I feel proud that he's made me part of that program. Because I played there and I coached there. I love that place, and he knows it.
Yeah.
He knows it. Plus, I know how to talk to kids when we get together. Man, it's like I feel like the adrenaline's flowing. Like it's time to go out there and play, man.
And that's what kind of mentorship you want for those kids to look at you, and and you've come from where they come from.
That's right.
So that's good. Yeah, no, awesome, man. So
the other things I was going to tell you too is that I was able to back in the day with the radio career. I was asked to host the locker room on ESPN a couple of times on ESPN Radio 101.7. And that was a heck of an opportunity. That's how I got started with Joe O'Neill, right? Joe O'Neill, the owner.
Yeah.
Him and I played against each other in high school.
Oh, did you?
So I hosted a TV show for the Department of Senior Affairs, and this is how old this is. You're going to laugh. I sent Joe a VHS tape about one of my shows that I did for the Department of Senior Affairs on TV. And so this is like 2010. And Joe tells me, he says, hey, you can host the locker room January of 2010 when Bob Brown's going to be out of town. Man, I couldn't believe it. That was a great opportunity. I got to do that 4 times. And I'll tell you, Bob Brown to this day is one of the mentors that I've had in radio. Bob Brown was a great host, but a better person, because he'd show me how to show map the show. In other words, you don't just go in there and write stuff down. You better have topics for each hour, break it down in segments. Right. He taught me a whole lot about radio.
See, that's what Henry, when I had Henry the other day, and he kept bringing up the fact that, hey, man, we're on it. We have no notes. We're not even. So you know what? You and I, like myself, I'm not a professional. I'm just me, right? And I love to talk. Everybody says, I can talk a lot. So, okay, and having you and having Henry T, here and just listening to you guys, the professionalism that you guys have, and the hard work that it takes to do what you guys do. It's not just get on the mic, Like myself, yesterday I was supposed to have Coach Snow, on and at the last second, of course they're having issues, so he could make it. But I'm not a one-man show. I'm not going to get on the air by myself, because that's not what I do. It's not who I am, So I kind of felt like, wow, there's no show today, because it's not about me. I love talking to you, talking about what your life's about, And talk a little bit. I want to talk a little bit about nostalgia. When you were talking to Marvin Johnson, you were talking about the 1978 team. You remembered quite a bit on that for that season, the players and. I think you brought a lot out that I don't think Marvin even remembered. So you were bringing that. You were mentioning a lot of, So back then, what do you remember that broke your heart?
The 78 loss to Cal State Fullerton at Tucson, and the Lobos were heavily favored. Remember, it's only a 32-team field back then. And New Mexico had been mentioned as possible Final Four, even a national champion. So Bryant Gumbel had done a feature on the Lobos for NBC. I remember. He showed the pit, make it happen. Lobos were in their turquoise warm-ups. So I don't think there's not much I don't remember about that season. I played for Highland, so I went to games whenever I could. We went to practice. We'd go to practice and go watch, right? And Coach Ellenberger, Norm, was never like, what are you guys doing? He's like, every time he saw us, hey, guys, how you doing? What's going on? He always made it a point to talk to us. That season was so exciting, and I don't think Marvin was he scored 50 in one game. It might have been 65 if 3-point shots had been there. You had Marvin, Willie Howard, Phil Abney, Russell Saunders,
Dave Otero.
Cooper, Dave Otero.
I mean, my guy,
OT.
my one of my buddies back then, and David was on that team as a sub. But he was a badass, and yeah, that's how good that team was.
No, he really was.
Yeah.
So we met Mark Felix, Jimmy Williams, Willie Howard. With that team there, we thought for sure the regionals are here. We thought for sure everybody's got tickets, right? We've got good tickets. We're right there. Yeah. I think the loss to Cal State Fullerton was probably my most heartbreaking loss as a Lobo fan. I remember watching with my parents in the living room, and I'm pacing back and forth. I'm thinking they're going to win. They're going to win. And at some point it got away from them. That Kevin Heenan guy for Cal State Fullerton, and Marvin said that Marvin Johnson said he hadn't really played that well all season long. The goggles guy,
right,
he killed him. Yeah. He had 23 points.
He was hitting that shot, man. Yeah. But, okay, when you were discussing that, Marvin also mentioned that he set the bench a lot. Why do you think they sat the bench? Do you believe that it was that point shaving?
I don't.
You don't believe that?
But I was really respectful in asking Marvin that because I don't want to get into things. He said that we never broached the subject.
Right. I
didn't wanna
noticed
get into
that. You guys did talk about that.
We did talk about it on the surface, but when Marvin said, "I don't think that happened. I don't want to get into that," I just left it alone.
Yeah.
But there
But
was
you and
talk.
I talking about it. Why do you think? I mean, for all these games, what was he saving them for? Even Michael Cooper didn't play that much. I mean, a lot of times. And I'm telling you, because we're talking. I remember my buddy David telling me one day, talking about the game, is that Oliver told him not to shoot the ball, don't shoot. And then when he shot the ball, he made a couple of shots. He pulled them. And to David says, "I'm going to shoot. I was wide open. I'm not going to not shoot." And David was a good shooter.
Oh yeah.
So I remember hearing, when they were coming out, he said, God bless Norm Allenberger, because he passed, behind his good, one of the best coaches ever. But I personally believe it was point shaving. I do, because that team. If Marvin would have been playing, and we would have beat Fullerton by 20. We would have blew him out of, and it, granted, he might have not wanted to lose the game because that kid, the goggles, would line it up, and we lost by what, 3 or 4?
Right, 5, 90 to 85.
And we should have won by 20 if he would have played the way we played. I mean, the way the season was going. So I don't know. It's, again, I consider it, and I tell people, and I don't joke about it, but I joke about it. It's like the Lobo curse. Like there's a curse out there, dude. There's always something going on with the Lobos. Look at this year. So, I mean, this was the year that I think with Bragg and Kawa, and what happens? Really? Look at our football program. What happened? Here again, I mean, Rocky's here. We're doing well. We're starting to get to the, another level. And so now we're starting over again on both programs. And well, thank God that Coach Birmingham has his team rocking right now.
He's doing well.
He's very excited about the pitching, and sure enough, they would have 2 shutouts this year.
Mm-hmm.
And it's only been 7 games.
Right.
So, and I'm pretty excited for Lobo baseball. So
I think that you mentioned starting over in Lobo football, but I think at least having Danny Gonzalez there, I think a lot of people feel very optimistic about starting over. Bob Davey did a fine job here. He did, but was he community connected?
Yeah.
Danny Gonzalez is from here. He played for Valley, played under Rocky.
Yeah.
I had him on the sports desk. He called in the sports desk about 2 weeks ago. Called in from LAX.
Right.
A lot of coaches will blow you off.
Yeah.
I'm excited about what he's going to bring here. And look, let's put it like this, JC. He's got him as the head coach, Danny Gonzalez, and Rocky Long as the defensive coordinator.
That's the best recruit he could have done,
if
man.
you can't make it happen there.
Yeah.
Now, I never thought I'd see. Okay, so I remember when Mike Shepard was here coaching the football team. We had 7,000 fans, right? I never thought it'd get worse. We had 1,200 for the last game. 1,200. I think people are going to buy a lot of season tickets. I really do.
I'm a big Lobo. I go to all the Lobo football games, all of them. You know that I missed that game? Not because I was boycotting the Lobos, but you know what else was going on the same time? The state championship game, Rio Rancho and Cleveland.
Yeah.
How do they plan both games at the same time? I mean, really, New Mexico? NMAA? UNM? I mean, come on. I mean, there's got to be a master calendar somewhere where it doesn't interfere. We're not that big of a state, that big of a fan base that, you can't split these up. And it happens all the time, man. Another topic, like, really? But anyway, going back, just to share this with you all and the fan, everybody out there that's listening. This Thursday, at 1 o'clock, I'm having Danny Gonzalez here on the Lobo Chat. So we're pretty excited about him coming on and talk about the Lobo, talk about Lobo Club, talk about Lobo football, talk about the excitement having him, a local guy, here. And I always think about, we got to take care of ourselves here. We live in this little bubble, New Mexico. Our big sponsors are local. So it was so happy when they hired Danny. He knows New Mexico. He knows Albuquerque. He knows how to recruit these players to this city, to this state. So that's what I'm excited about, because he's from here. And they would Rocky there and Jason Lensmeyer back and Gavin back. I mean, they got a good little, group here that's going to help. Hopefully, like you say, it might take a year or two, but you know what? I see good things in the horizon for football.
I do too. And like you said, having Rocky back, how big was that? You mentioned that's the biggest recruit Danny Gonzalez could have got.
Totally.
Some of our best success here in the football program was when Rocky Long was the coach.
True.
It really was.
True.
45,000 against the Aggies, 38,000 against Rice. We had some great crowds out there.
Yeah.
I think, again, if you win, and I'm just excited because of Coach Gonzalez and his approach to people. He respects you right away when he meets you. Hey, how you know, he doesn't big time you.
Yeah.
He has community
Well,
connections.
he grew up here.
Right.
He has the values of New Mexicans, of Albuquerque people. You know, I'm in business myself. You know, I have a company called Minuteman Design Center. My son and I, Jeremy, he's the boss now. I work for him now. But you know what? When I meet all these people around the city that come from somewhere else, they love Albuquerque. And you know the first thing they say why they love Albuquerque? They love the people. You know, we grew up a certain way. We're not in that fast pace, L.A., New York. You know, we're not in that Chicago. We're here, you know,
right.
and they love the fact about the people in New Mexico and Albuquerque. So having Danny here, you know what, it's like I give Eddie Nunez so much credit for making it happen. You know.
Well, think about it. You just mentioned that. Coach Davey was not a New Mexico community guy. He lived in Scottsdale in the off season. Fine, that's his right to do that.
Right.
This guy is from here,
Yeah.
wants to be here,
Yeah.
and is selling the program already. You know, and so when you see him and you hear his enthusiasm, you can't help but feel enthused about the possibilities and prospects of Lobo football for sure. You know, he's just that kind of guy. When you meet him, positive guy, right? Positive guy,
Totally.
respects other people. That's
Yeah.
big to me, is respect. And New Mexicans are big about that, right?
Yeah.
That's why Coach Alford, again, great coach, right? Great coach. Not so great as a person. He wasn't. I had people that
I thought he was. I got along real. I know. I got
okay, you might know him in a different way.
Yeah.
You might know him in a different way. I'm not saying again. Remember the discipline. That's
You're the
lack-
broadcaster. See, I was a booster.
Right.
See,
Okay.
that was
You probably saw him in a different way.
Yeah.
But again, the discipline that he had
Oh yeah.
is needed right now
That's right. Right now.
because there was no
I
question.
think it starts with respect. And for some reason, I don't think our player respect our coaches.
Maybe it
And
was
that's just me.
Coach
you know?
Alford being a former player, right? I mean, former Indiana Player of the Year.
Yeah.
Did play 5 years with the pros, not great 5
Mr.
years.
Basketball, yeah.
Right, Mr. Basketball in
Yeah,
Indiana.
yeah.
So maybe that was it. Because when he said something, it was law. And it wasn't questioned. He didn't
Right.
have 5 guys running the stairs. I'm sure he did.
Yeah.
But not
Yeah.
consistently,
Right.
continuously, and somebody disciplined every other game. You know what he would do? See ya. It's a privilege
I know,
if you don't want
I
to be
know,
on the
I
team,
know.
get lost.
I know,
He wouldn't.
I know.
He didn't have time for that.
I know.
And you know, Coach, you said this. We're still optimistic. We don't give up, right?
Nope.
So
Don't give up.
maybe he's finding a formula to get the things done at the tournament. There's 2 games left.
Yep.
We're always optimistic that things can change, but those players
We grew
have
up that way.
Right.
We got taught that way. You know, my father and mother never taught me to give up. They never taught me to quit. They never taught me, you could have bad days, but doesn't mean it's a bad day tomorrow. Tomorrow's another day.
Some of those players have to take it upon themselves. So somebody's got to be that leader and say, hey, look, aren't we tired of losing? Aren't we tired of having guys suspended? When are we going to stop?
Right. Because they're all talented.
People have team meetings, right? Some of them are okay,
Yeah.
players-only meetings. What do they accomplish, though? I don't know. We can talk all we want. We have to go out there and execute.
Yeah.
We have to be disciplined.
Yeah.
We have to change some of those attitudes. And
Right.
frankly speaking, I just haven't seen any reason for optimism to think that they will, but I
Right.
still hope that they do.
Yeah. Being having Danny here, he's already recruiting local kids. He's already looking at the best talent that we have here. Even if it's not the best talent, but it's the best talent we have, and it's good to offer those kids some scholarships because you got 80 scholarships, and I like the fact that if he can change the culture here, 'cause there's a lot of Division I players out there in the state, and if he could just keep one of them to show that he can recruit those kids. There's a kid out there in Las Lunas that's a stud and a half, and everybody's starting to offer him scholarships, and UNM too. But will he be that one kid that wants to stay home and have his own rooting section? Where if he's going to go pro, they're going to find him here. Just ask Urlacher. So let's hope that Danny Gonzalez can recruit the Division I 5-star, 4-star recruit from New Mexico. And it's going to tell this next couple of years. So.
Think about it. When Rocky Long was here, he had great success in recruiting New Mexico athletes. Ian Clark, Nick Spiegel, Michael Scarlett Jr. He had a lot of Josh Bazinet. he had a lot of success in recruiting Brian
Dontrell
Urlacher,
Moore.
Dontrell Moore, Cole McCamey, Hank Basket.
Artesia,
a lot of success with New Mexico
yeah,
athletes, and I think Coach Gonzalez is definitely looking. He already looked at Dorian Lewis. Dorian Lewis went to Coffeyville, JC, so he's not coming here yet, but you never know.
You never know.
In 2 years,
Yeah.
those are the athletes that I think a lot of people would like to see come and play New Mexico. Now, look, a lot of people are advocates of having nothing but New Mexico. You can't do that and win.
Right.
Having just New Mexico athletes, right?
Right.
But Coach Long did an outstanding job of sprinkling in some great New Mexico players. He did. He really did.
Greg Azar, remember Greg Azar?
Of course,
Remember
from
Greg?
Sandia. Greg Azar was a heck of a player, man.
You know, I met Greg after his football season, and Greg Azar was a middle linebacker, remember? Big old stud, big neck. I mean, I remember the little guy. Yeah. Then all of a sudden I was playing fast pitch softball, and this kid was joining to play with us, and his name was Greg Azar. And I go, you have the same name as the football player. I go, no, that's me. I go, what happened to you? Because after the training, I mean, all of a sudden they shrunk.
Right.
I go, wow. I go, this guy was a stud. So I remember him. I don't know what happened to him. But,
John Bell, the defensive tackle from Fred Mady. We had some success with some local. Terrence Thomas, the receiver from West Mesa. There was a lot of success with local UNM athletes here, or local guys from New Mexico that played well here.
Yeah,
So
and they will. They're football players. They'll do well here. I just, one they missed out was Chris Williams. Remember?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, that guy was a stud. It's quicker and heck, and that was Rocky's miss, huh? I think Rocky remember saying that. He goes, that's one kid that he missed.
Played for New Mexico State.
Yeah.
He just got the New Mexico State Hall of Fame, I think, on Sunday.
Yeah, and he was, but he played pro Canadian League. Remember?
Canadian and a little cup of coffee with the Bears in preseason.
Yeah.
His dad, Wallace Williams, was a heck of an athlete
Really?
at Hobbs, played at Hobbs.
Oh, they're
His
Hobbs
mother was a runner at Santa Fe, so he got a combination
So how do you
of
know all
both.
this? Look
Hey,
at
just
you,
covering
man.
the scenes,
Look at
man.
that, yeah.
Just covering the local scene. Well, I
Yeah,
played against
right.
Wallace Williams in the
Did-
North-South All-Star
did
Game in
you?
1980.
Did you?
Wallace Williams was one heck of a
Wow,
player.
wow.
Real fast.
Tall? Or
No,
small like
about
his dad,
six
like Chris?
feet.
Yeah.
But a 440 guy at Hobbs, 440 guy.
Really?
Incredible speed.
Wow,
Yeah, just
wow.
think about the athletes that
Uh-huh.
the Hobbs
Oh, yeah,
Eagles.
yeah.
Back in the day when Hobbs came to the pit, right? They'd come with the jackets with the eagle.
Yep.
When they'd walk in the pit,
The black, sports coat,
I think it was gold or it might have been black, but they had the eagle on it.
Yeah.
And when they walked down, there's a murmur. Oh, there's Hobbs, right? Everybody's like quiet. So that's how good they were. That's how good they were.
I remember, they were at 100 points a game in high school, over 100 points a game, averaging.
The 1970 Hobbs team averaged 114 points a game, and is still thought of as the best high school team the state of New Mexico's ever seen.
Yeah.
Remember one thing: without 3-point shots, they averaged 114 a game.
Yeah. But half of them were layups. They were so quick. They steal the ball. They were gone, and it was like cherry picking. They were so good.
Okay, so they were 6'5", 6'6".
Yeah.
They're big guards. A
Yeah.
lot of those guys went to play major college.
Yeah.
So yeah, they were really, really good.
Yeah. So and I remember I was at Bulldog City as a sophomore. I remember and watching Ron Padrell and.
What year did you graduate?
72 from West Mesa.
Okay,
I'm
so
a West Mesa grad. Yeah, 1972. I call it the Ray Bars years. Remember Ray Bars?
people forget. I never saw it, but I asked them. They
dude.
said this guy. He went to Colorado, right? Got a scholarship to
that's
Colorado.
right. Yep.
I never got a chance to watch him, but they
bro.
said
Ray Bars was the man. He was a man child. I'll just share one quick story of Ray Bars when I first knew who Ray Bars was. He was a really little phenom in Yaffle. He was dominating Yaffle. So he was at John Adams. I was at John Adams, and I was an 8th grader. He was a 7th grader, and he's already a big old kid, And I remember him carrying a briefcase, right? And he was going to get on the bus. He lived by Alamos Elementary, so they'd bus him to that side of Central. And I remember a couple, 2 or 3 kids were like picking on him, and he was trying to get on the bus, and they started kicking him, Like it was one, those Pachuco lives back in the day, where they just want to cause. Anyway, he gets off the bus, puts the briefcase down, and 3 punches. Those 3 guys went down. He knocked him out, dude.
Dominoes.
And his briefcase got on the bus. And I'm like, man, who was this kid? And that was Ray Bars. So when he got to West Mesa, oh my God, dude, he dominated. He run over people. And you remember Dana Corey? Highland?
Yes.
Dana Corey? Dana was 72, and he remembers facing Ray Bars. And he was telling me Highland was good all the time. We finally beat Highland, because Highland was the perennial champions. And he said when they tackled him, they didn't want to tackle him because he would hurt you. Instead of you go hurt him, he was hurting you. And I remember him averaging like 200, 300 yards a game. Dude. Ray Bars was just dominant, bro. And he had his dad on the sidelines, walking the sideline from the 10 to the 25, to the 25 to the 30. I mean, back and forth every time Ray ran the ball. And Ray Bars was the best football player that ever came out of New Mexico. It's too bad that he went through what he went through. But, no. People don't know who Ray Bars was. And when I tell them, do you remember Tony Dorsett? Oh, yeah. Well, Ray Bars had more votes on the Parade All-American magazine than Tony Dorsett.
That's amazing.
Yeah. He was first team and Tony was second team.
Yeah, Dorsett, the Hall of Famer.
Yeah, totally.
Running back at Pittsburgh, college, Dallas Cowboy. One of my favorite running backs ever.
Yeah. So, and to me, the best running back ever was Ray Bars. Nobody ever heard of him.
I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to get, but you're saying he's the best you saw, right?
Oh.
Because Ronnie Daniels was a heck of a back. Mike Carter was a heck of a back.
But they were nothing compared to Ray Bars.
That's incredible.
And then again, and nothing against them. Don't get me wrong. But Ray was 6'2", 6'4", like 220 muscle as a kid. So just imagine
hitting that. When you mentioned Dana Corey, who used to do a lot with PAL boxing, just
still
great
does.
guy.
I heard he's still part of PAL.
Yeah, great guy.
Yeah.
I haven't talked to Dana in several years, but just a great guy. If he said he had a hard time hitting him, that tells you a lot.
Yeah. Go and take a drink of this. Let's have a little drink, a little toast here. This is for Tim Baca. We're here at the Kangen Water Store, Hydrobar. Tim, thank you for hosting us here at the Kangen Bar. This water is amazing, alkaline water. Hey, Tim, can you come in a second? Yeah. And I just want to share a little bit. Tim, I want you to talk a little bit coming in. I want you to talk about the water.
Are you going to take a Kangen one?
Yeah, take a water break.
You're taking a Kangen water break? Nice. Ed,
Tim,
thanks for coming in today, man.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's been a great. We covered a lot of ground, man. We got lots more. I mean, we've lived here all our lives too. But that's why when you bring up names like Ray Bars and some local, I'm like, gosh, because I'm a sports fanatic. I have been since I was a kid. I've loved sports, and I still do. And thank God I've got a wife that's likes sports. Otherwise, I wouldn't be with her.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, they have to understand you, right?
Well, I got how it is, Tim. Happy wife, happy life. I better understand her too, because if I don't, I have to make sure that I'm making sure I'm taking care of Mama, because Mama is awesome. I've been married to her 31 years, man. I love her so much. So she's a great partner. Just the more I'm married to her, I realize how especially how blessed I am.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, and I think sometimes people take things for granted. Maybe I did at one point in my life, and making sure I don't anymore. Yeah, because you don't know how much life you have to live. I was telling you that.
No, you don't.
Yeah, you just don't know. You don't
know. And no, especially with family, you want to, like I said, you got your family. You're blessed, right?
Family's everything.
It's like my son. You just got a little fender bender right now, but at least he's okay. I don't care about the vehicle, but at least he's okay.
Cars can be replaced.
Exactly.
Family is everything. I've got a granddaughter now. It's about 22 months, and gosh, she's at that age now where she's talking and getting her own personality. And when I see her and I hold her, I almost want to cry. I love her so dang much, man. Yeah, and that's life, right? Those are magic moments that you don't get enough of, and you want them all the time. And I think I told you I went to a funeral yesterday, and it's like, I better, and I'm going to more and more, it seems, right? And the guy that passed away was just a good guy, man. He just come up to Manzano Mesa, where I retired from, the multi-generational center, about 3 months ago. And I used to play ball with him at East San Jose. I've known him for a long time. And he was okay, he was fine. And I guess he got cancer and passed away, but a good man. It was a great service and a great memorial for him. And I left there thinking, gosh, I'm glad I went. I went. He deserved.
How old was he?
73.
Okay,
deserved that respect, though. Because the people that got up, and his nephew, who I used to play a lot of basketball against, almost choked up, because he just lost his father in August, and it hit him. It hit him, but his eulogy was beautiful, and I told him that. I sent him a message this morning. I said, I'm so glad I went, because that was a beautiful eulogy. It really was. They respected his life. You can't ask for any more than that.
No, not at all. And I think it's just, going through life, just doing the right thing. And always try to bring value to people. And I think that probably showed at that service the people that cared about him that much.
Oh, I'll tell you one thing, Tim. Death is hard, man. It's hard. I lost my mom in 2016. She was 91. She had a beautiful life, though.
Yes.
She would tell me before she passed away, it's time for me to go. She would say, "Oh, boy, that stabbed my heart." It did. But I look back on it and think, gosh, she had a beautiful life. She really did. She had a beautiful life. My father passed away at 75, and I still think about him. And I think now when they were both gone, I thought, gosh, I was so lucky to have them as parents, because they sacrificed everything they could for us to do better than them. We did.
Yes.
And so I think about them. I think, gosh, they taught me they were just outstanding role models. And working with kids for as long as I have, I understand that not everybody's that fortunate. I understand that. I understand that because not everybody has great parents. They don't. Everybody thinks that people do. They don't. And so I look back on it now and I think, man, I'm lucky that my son and your son is doing well, right? Because of your guidance. How much does that mean? It's so important.
Oh, yeah. So, like, my wife and I have a preschool as well. So, we have a child care preschool. So we've seen so many families throughout the years, 20 years. And, we've scholarshiped a lot of kids because, not everybody has the same situation as me and my family. And that's tough to see because you see some of these kids with these single parent, homes, and it's not just mom and kids, it's dad and kids sometimes.
Right.
And you see these kids struggle and you're like, I remember going out and we were always like looking for ways to get them in sports. And I'd go to the YAFL, office and I'd say, hey, can we help scholarship some of these kids? And I would pay part of it. They would pay part of it. We were always trying to get these kids involved in sports because they didn't have that. They didn't have that guidance or that father figure. And, but we've seen it for years. So, I am blessed that I have a great family, great wife, and the kids are amazing. And we still battle sometimes, but it's all a learning process. But it's just like, I've seen it out there. So I appreciate the fact that you work with these community centers because you see the same thing I see with a preschool.
It's hard for me to leave. When I was going to retire, after 30 years, you top out with the city at 90%. And I thought, man, I didn't want to retire. But then I thought about it, and I can do other things. I met with a representative from YDI last week. I'm real interested in their mentorship program. That's a strength, and I think some kids need to be mentored, right? So, yes, I'm retired, but I'm already thinking like, hey, I'm not going to, maybe not full time, but there's something that I can help with. What can I help with? That's important to me still to serve.
Yes.
Broadcasting is a side gig, man. That's fun.
That's fun.
Right. But that my work and my life was made in communities and serving other people. And that's still a passion. Even though I retired from the city doesn't mean that passion goes out. No way.
Well, and I think you have to keep doing something, right?
Got to stay busy.
Got to keep providing value, and with all your knowledge, you have to go out there and help other people. That's just the way the world works.
That's right.
And so I believe in that. A lot of times I see people that retire and then they just kind of take it easy, and then things change, like they get sick or they just don't have the same motivation. And I think you got to be involved, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, yeah.
No, it's funny because I think after the new year, so December, I retired December 6th. Kind of took it easy, but I was still busy broadcasting. So I said to myself, after the first of the year, I need to get a little busy. I worked out. I still took my walks.
Yeah.
And so I called this guy at 99.9 The Beat. He's got a local radio station.
Byron. Yeah.
And I said, we started talking. I sent him some stuff. So I'm doing a sports minute on 99.9 in the morning and in the afternoon. He set up a podcast at my house. I just do my minute, send it to him in the morning and in the afternoon. So, boom. So I'm staying busy with that.
That's good.
And it's funny because my wife is my chief editor of the sports stories. Honey, cut those words out. Don't say so much because I'll time it in front of her. And I'm still trying to get better on it. And,
nice.
But it's my thing. He's giving me creative leeway to make it what I want. So that's a passion. So I'm getting to do that. And I'm having fun with it. But there's still that passion about serving kids, right? Helping kids out, helping seniors out. That's what I did. That doesn't go away just because it's over with the city, right?
Exactly.
So there's different ways to try to help other people.
That's great.
Yeah,
that's great. Well, and I appreciate you coming in. JC and I started this Lobo Chat show a few weeks ago, and it's already getting a lot of traction. So it's awesome that you came in. We started it because, for one, people come in here all day. I have this, podcast room, and it's you'll see as you've been here, like there's just people that'll come in all day long because of the water, and it's just a great place and it's also an open door, so I don't have a door here. Mm-hmm. So people sometimes will just pop in. I'll say, jump on the show,
right? And
they jump on the show. It's cool. So,
I think it's a great venue because, like I said, I saw Coach Bramante.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Coach Birmingham, but I saw Henry T. Henry T and I worked together, and I watched the whole thing. So I think it's great. And JC has been a Lobo booster and he's a Lobo fanatic as much as me, right?
Yes.
I hate when the Lobos lose. I used to get so mad. My brother said when I was little that when we were listening to the Lobo Aggie games, I would get mad if the Lobos lost, but doubly mad if they lost to the Aggies. I'd cry, and I probably did. I hated when they lost to the Aggies. I've got Will Benjamin. He's the head coach of Las Cruces Bulldogs, and he's a former Aggie, so I'm always giving it back to him.
Yes.
But I said, you're my favorite Aggie, but the list is a very short one. It's him and maybe some other guy. But those rivalries used to mean something, right? When I played at Highland, we hated Sandia. Man. Well, that was a rivalry. I hated to lose to them, or Albuquerque High. Those were rivalries. They burned inside you. The Dallas Cowboys when they lost to the Redskins. God, and you used to hear that hail to the Redskins at RFK Stadium. I almost wanted to kick the TV in, man. I hated losing more than I liked winning. I used to be that guy that wouldn't say nothing for 2 hours. I never kicked no dog or nothing like that, but I would be quiet for like two. My wife would ask me something, I would just mumble,
Yep.
and then finally I got over it because it's a game, right? We've got other things in our life. I had to understand that. Jerry Jones doesn't call me after the Cowboys lose to see what I think, right?
But you
it's
get
a game.
passionate. It's hard. It's hard to kind of bite your tongue. I mean, it's it's a passion.
Yes,
I get it.
Same thing with the Lobos. JC and I were dissecting what's wrong with them, what we think they should do, right? Who knows what will happen? and yet it'll go on tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day because what's the king here? It's Lobo Sports.
Yes.
We don't have a pro team. United's made some strides in the community, right? It'll always be Lobo Sports. Always.
Exactly.
Always. And so since 1970, that's burned inside me for Lobo football and basketball, baseball a little bit now with Coach Birmingham.
Yeah.
Because that is one great New Mexican. That is one great guy.
He's awesome.
Yeah, he really is.
I love Coach Birmingham. He's awesome.
Oh gosh, hey cowboy, he call everybody hey cowboy.
Yep.
How can you
it.
not like that guy? I mean, that guy's a true Lobo through and through.
Oh yeah.
So when I think of him, I think, man, that's a Lobo right there, right?
Oh,
that's
yeah.
a Lobo.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. But hey, thanks Ed. I appreciate it. I'm gonna get JC back on the air.
Tim, let's get you on the sports desk. Talk about your water.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ed.
Yeah, you bet.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kimmy. Man, he reminds me of Henry T. You get a sore throat and right away they want to take over, man. What's up with that,
Hey, nobody can take over like Henry T, man. You know that. Nobody can take over like Henry T. So
Henry T. Just the times that I interviewed Henry, you do pick up a lot of stuff. He's good. I mean, you can pick up on stuff that you gotta, sit straight. Make sure that you don't pick your nose. Henry was a true professional.
you think about it. Channel 4, Channel 7, Channel 13.
Yeah. You know that he never went to broadcasting school.
No.
That was.
He told me that whole
was
story.
kind of like
Yeah.
I thought that he started as a he said he got on by mistake. Just by accident he just had his show when he interviewed Muhammad Ali. And that's what started his career.
What a great story that was about Ali.
Wasn't it?
He didn't even tell me that one. And, Henry and I, we've been friends a long 10 years, solid friendship. And I never heard that. So when I heard that, I thought, wow, he carved that thing for him, right?
Yeah.
He took a chance. The dinner was, $140 a plate. He didn't know if he just goes up to the champ, and the champ says, think about what Ali did for Henry's career and what Henry did for him too, right? And, Henry, great interview with, they put it on Channel 7 2 nights in a row, prime time. Max Glover, I listened to the whole thing.
Yeah.
So think about that, what that did for Henry in his career, and he parlayed that into 30. He's still at it.
He still
wants to do things.
Yeah. He says, I'm not on the shelf yet.
Nobody put him there. Nobody's even suggested that he's there.
I'm going to bring him back, because he does a great show. I mean, I love talking to Henry. There's so much to talk about. Like you, man, just talking with you. I mean, it's pretty interesting, the history that you have here, because, like I say, I didn't know you went to Highland. I mean, I never knew that you were Pius, went to Pius either, So it's like, it's good to know a little bit more about you. Because now there's 2 Ed Nunez's in town. One Ed and one Eddie.
But the other guy's got much more responsibility than I do. But like I said, I wish him all the best. He's a great guy. And when he sees me, he saw me at the pit the other night. Hey, Nunez, what's going on? He says, nice guy. Just a good dude. And again, a lot of responsibility. And I don't know that he thought it was going to be this much this soon all at once.
When I saw what kind of great guy he was is when I invited him. He'd been here for about a month, and I invited him to a matanza.
Oh yeah.
And he showed up to the matanza, man. It was awesome to see him there and introduce a lot of the people, the local people. But he wanted to be part of the community already. You noticed that he wanted to be part of something. It was awesome that, he didn't make an excuse, And what he remembered at matanzas was going out to a ranch. Going out to because you got to slaughter the pig, you got to, anyway, this was at a neighborhood, Joe Moya's home. He does one every year, 2 weeks after Thanksgiving. And when he was driving up, he goes, where am I going? He goes, what am I, he realized he was going to a house. So it was funny.
That is
when he
funny.
tells
That's
the story.
true New Mexican stuff.
I'm telling you, dude.
And he showed up.
Oh, he showed up.
That tells you something about Eddie.
Right away. That's, and to this day, I consider him a friend. He's a good man. He's doing the right thing for New Mexico. Go ahead.
Let me ask you this. Did he eat the chicharrones?
I believe he did. I think he helped cook him. I think he helped stir him.
Oh man, my dad
Yeah.
loved those. God, my dad
Yeah.
loved those chicharrones.
Yeah.
Boy,
Yeah.
gosh, I remember when I first ate them.
But they will kill you, though.
Ooh, gosh, you can't eat too many, right?
Right.
Matter of fact, at this age, I won't even. I might have a half.
Yeah.
Because it reminds me of my father, man.
Yeah.
Those are memories.
Yeah. So you talked about your favorite Cowboy team, favorite football. Who's your favorite baseball team?
You know what? I was a big Yankee fan when Reggie Jackson played. I'm a baseball fan, but I really don't have a favorite team. I like the Yankees. I follow them, but I've been following baseball with all this the Astros
Yeah.
thing, and
Right.
I still follow sports every day,
Yeah.
and that's been intriguing to me because I got to say this with baseball cheating back in the day, right? It was individual. You had McGuire, steroids, the corked bat here and there, Gaylord Perry with the spitter. This is team cheating. It's a little different. And if you think about the White Sox in 2000 or 1918,
I'm going to debate you on that. I don't think it's cheating. I think it's technology. Everybody steals a sign.
Yes, that's true.
We grew up stealing signs. I'm a baseball player. Any little advantage you can get against the other team. I used to be able to pick up pitches on my own, played fast pitch. I knew when the guy this day and age is technology, and they use this days and age 20 years from now, 30 years from now. There's going to be I'm going to predict the future. They're going to complain about some team picking up the signals from a satellite. From the satellite's going to come across, and all of a sudden they're going to find a way to pick up that satellite. Dude, I think more than one team doing it.
No,
it
you're
can't
right.
be just this
But
team.
was it legal? Was it legal what they were doing?
There's nothing illegal because there's no rule on it yet. You cannot do technology. You cannot. There's no rule that says that you can do it, but they did it, and it's not.
Baseball's unwritten rule?
Totally.
Okay, but you know how people in baseball are sacred about those unwritten rules.
Okay, so this picture you're talking about the spitball. Who's
Gaylord
the
Perry.
Is he in the Hall of Fame?
He is.
Duh.
Yeah.
He is the steroids. Are they in the Hall of Fame yet?
None of those guys
Not
are.
yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. Is Pete Rose? No. Pete Rose gambled on his own team. How should that be bad? He gambled, but he didn't gamble his team to lose. I mean, how can you? I mean, they want to pick and choose.
That's true.
They want to pick and choose it. And I feel bad for our guy, Alex Bregman, with Houston Astros, to putting him in front to take the questions. Dude, get the president, get the owners, they the ones should be up there. They should put these players on there and put them on the spot. Then they got to read whatever they gave them to read. That was kind of like,
Well,
I didn't like that.
You already saw what the commissioner Manfred put his foot in his mouth when he said it's just a piece of metal.
It's
He
just,
called
it's
the
just, it's
World
just a
Series.
piece of metal. Yeah,
Well, I'll tell you
it's
what.
just a piece of paper.
Yeah, he put his foot in his mouth on
I'm
that
like,
one.
that
Every
is,
statement he makes,
yeah.
he looks more pathetic.
Yeah. So I personally, I don't condone with what came out. Okay, it could be called cheating, but I think it was they took advantage. And the worst part about it is they went down to not just technology, but then they got to the point in the dugout where they're hitting the drum.
Right.
Now that was they should have found a better way.
Yeah.
You're right. I mean,
Right.
Yeah.
And so people would argue about is that technology or is that that's
the cheating.
Right.
The cheating.
Right. And I'll tell you one thing: the
yeah.
Astros are going to have to be. Carl Ravitch said this on ESPN. They're going to have to get comfortable being uncomfortable all year long because of the questions.
Yeah. And when they do get hit, because they are going to get hit, but it's not. I don't know. I hope it's not intentional because that's assault.
Can't do that.
You got to know the difference. I mean,
The commissioner already said if they do that, people are going to get fined.
Yeah, no, fines should be arrested. I mean, go throw a rock at somebody. Go throw a baseball at somebody's head at 90 miles an hour. That's assault.
You remember the great headhunters back in the day, Bob Gibson. If you hit a home run off him, you got to shave you next time. You're going to hit the deck.
Yeah.
So
and it happened. That's baseball again. That's baseball. That's the unwritten rule.
You hit a home run, we're going to dust you off a little,
Yeah.
right? So, they got to be careful of those teams saying they're going to get beaned or they're going to bean.
Right.
Astros, they better be careful.
And I just, I don't know. Being that I was a baseball player, you still got to hit the ball. You still got to hit it. I mean, you still got to stay in there. You still got to, I don't know. You know what? They took a little advantage. Did that win the World Series? I don't know. I think maybe that's why they're after them because they did win the World Series. Other teams could have been doing the same thing, but they didn't win the World Series, so there's no news there.
Right. And they said that other teams they've found have stolen signs. They've done some of the same things. I think you're going to see more of that come out. Then what? You can't just say it's the Astros, right? It's not just them. Baseball's they've been stealing signs since Ty Cobb, Honus Wagner. That's been going on for a long time.
And then again, is it an unwritten rule? Because these players who reported it, they were traded away. when they were on the team, they saw it happening. But hey, it's our team. When they got traded away, they're like, "Oh man!" I go, "Don't you realize that they weren't? What, are they not supposed to say anything? I mean, it's a disadvantage to their team now. If they are doing that."
Right.
Yeah.
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 You can't keep them in the fold if you don't need them, though, right?
No.
I mean, you just can't keep them and say, well, we're worried they're going to expose our cheating and keep them here.
Yeah.
That was bound to happen. Someone
Yeah.
loose lips sink ships. That was bound to happen.
About to happen, yeah. So no baseball, favorite baseball team you had?
No, but I'm a
No.
big follower of the game. I'll follow the Yankees probably more than any
Yeah,
team.
I was a big Dodger fan. I was big going back. I was a Dukes fan. I was cricket Dukes, So we were, But when I remember growing up and seeing the Dukes, is that you knew all these players. To me, they were like community guys. They intermixed, having kids in the field, us on the field,
Right.
and I got it turned off on the Dodgers when Lasorda. Remember Lasorda was here, and remember Jack Porcante?
Oh, yeah.
Second baseman. I'm a
baseman.
second baseman,
Yeah.
right? So he was like my favorite player, right? Then all of a sudden, Steve Sachs gets promoted to the Dodgers, and they leave Porcante here and trade him away to the Indians. I'm like, what the heck? And that was sort of, dude, I started not liking the Dodgers. I didn't like the sort
Based on that trade?
Based on that
That's
trade.
funny.
It's like, it was just took it personal. Like, what? It's like this guy was, they had just won the triple. They just beat the Dodgers in the exhibition
I
game.
remember that.
And instead of
2-1.
Yeah, then all of a sudden they got Steve Sachs up. And Perconte's there ready to get to the next level, and they leave him hanging over here. That was kind of like, I turned away from the
Ted
Dodgers.
Power, Jack Percante, Rudy Law. I remember that team.
That?
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
I remember that team.
Yeah, there you go again. See, bringing
Oh,
up
man.
names, man.
Oh.
Those are names that I forgot. Yeah.
I remember one time Rudy Law was at bat at the old Duke Stadium, and he hit a foul ball, almost nailed my friend, and we had to jump out of the way. I still remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, Rudy Law, man. He was good, man. He was good. Yeah. They had a lot of good players here, man. Mike Marshall, remember Davey Lopes?
All of them.
Ron Say.
Heisel, Pachorik, Von Joshua, Greg Shanahan.
Yeah.
They had some very good players here.
Remember Ducky LeJohn?
No.
Oh, you're dating me, man. When I was a kid, Ducky LeJohn was here they were playing at Tingley Field.
Okay, I wouldn't.
Yeah, you and Bill Barrier.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of players that I remember. It was Don Sutton.
Of
He
course.
was here. Yeah,
of
he
course.
was here. He was there. So I was a big Dukes.
Think about
Dodger
Pedro
fan.
Guerrero played here.
Yeah,
I mean,
married a
the
girl
Dukes-
from here.
Yeah.
Married,
Orlando Alvarez of Yvonne De Jesus.
Yeah.
There's some really good players.
Yeah,
they won the PCL in '72 when Lasorda was the manager
That's
here.
right. That's why that was it. That was like the best team ever. They beat the Dodgers. That's to say in that exhibition game.
Yeah, Tom Pachorik.
Yeah.
They had some really good
Steve
players
Garvey.
here.
No, we
Yeah.
had some good. They came to Albuquerque. So that was nice.
Yeah,
so,
Stan Wall, Rick. They had some really good players.
Yeah.
They really did.
Hey, I think we're gonna close it up. Is that all right with
Hey,
you?
that's great.
It was great to have you on the
love to come
the
back
air.
on.
And,
That's
he
fun.
will be. He'll be back.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna get some more information from this guy. Thank you. We'll do it again. Just let everybody know that the plan is to have Coach Danny Gonzalez here on Thursday, 1:00. So Lobo Chat with JC Lopez, and hopefully that you all will tune in, and we'll talk some Lobo football and try to get everybody to buy season tickets and join the Lobo Club. Remember, everybody, all this is about the Lobo Club. If you can, this help UNM Athletics, and it's UNMLoboClub.com. Check it out, open up, and give to your favorite team, your favorite program, or just give to the Lobo Club where it helps everybody. Again, Ed, thank you, senor.
Thanks so much. That was a lot of fun.
Man. All right, take care. Everybody, peace out.